but I will tell you that lots of Australian viewers of the Mark Dolan show don't want to see Harry and Meghan. The reason why it went down well in 2018, Paul, is because the Australian public didn't know Meghan Markle very well. Well, they know her now. And what do they know her to be? A gold-digging grifter.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are reportedly planning a trip to Australia. But instead of a smooth, feel-good visit, things are already spiraling into chaos. What was meant to look like a fresh start is quickly turning into a PR nightmare before they even land. Across Australia, the reaction has been anything but welcoming. Petitions are gaining serious traction, with thousands of people signing on and demanding one thing loud and clear: no taxpayer money should be used for this visit. That kind of pushback isn't small. It's a warning sign. What was supposed to be a polished, strategic comeback trip is now looking shaky. If this keeps escalating, there's a real chance the entire visit could be scaled back, or even scrapped altogether. So why Australia? Why now? That's where things get interesting. Because behind the scenes, their major deals haven't exactly been thriving. Their high-profile partnership with Netflix has cooled off, Meghan's podcast under Spotify didn't last, and her lifestyle brand, As Ever, hasn't made the impact many expected.
Netflix was holding her back and she wants to push forward. Well, what better way to do that than to go to these countries and sort of test run how the business could go if they expand into Australia. I think nothing has been confirmed, but certainly it feels like that's the mood music. So there is that aspect of it where they want to come here and I guess just sort of launch this new phase of their career. But at the same time, it will of course invite comparisons to that.
That timing, not a coincidence. When momentum drops, visibility becomes everything. And this trip starts to look less like a casual visit and more like a calculated move to stay in the spotlight. Officially, they're saying it's about private business and philanthropy. But let's be real, a lot of people aren't buying that explanation. The suspicion is simple. This is about relevance, headlines, and getting back into the global conversation. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The spotlight of this trip reportedly won't even be on Harry. It's Meghan taking center stage. Plans are circulating about an exclusive women-focused event where she's expected to host a private-style gathering.
Netflix has officially cut ties with Meghan Markle's polarizing lifestyle brand As Ever. But there's no other way to spin it, is there? She and Harry have been a massive disappointment for Netflix.
But here's the part that's raising eyebrows. Tickets are rumored to cost around £1,400. And that price is for access, a chance to speak with Meghan one-on-one and hear her advice in person. And naturally, people are asking, what exactly is being offered here? Because at that price, expectations are sky high. All of this is starting to feel less like a simple visit, and more like a carefully crafted comeback play aimed at rebuilding influence in a place where public opinion is already pushing back hard. However, this whole plan already looks like it's falling apart.
Hasn't Australia suffered enough? What have you done to deserve this?
I know.
I mean, I'm thinking thoughts and prayers. The couple's popularity in Australia in 2018 was the catalyst for Harry and Meghan making demands as working members of the royal family. I don't know if you know that.
The growing wave of petitions across Australia isn't just noise. It's actively making things harder for them to even organize this trip properly. The pushback is loud, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. What makes this even more wild is how different things used to be. Back in 2018, right after their wedding, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were welcomed like global superstars. Streets in Sydney and Melbourne were packed, crowds everywhere, people lining up just to catch a glimpse of them. At that moment, they weren't controversial figures. They were seen as the future of the monarchy. Fresh energy, modern image, global appeal. Everything was working in their favor.
Harry and Meghan are heading to Australia. Meghan's going to be a guest at a women's only weekend event, and it's going to cost £1,700 for the 3-day weekend. Tell me what we could have got, Lizzie.
You can get a gala dinner, 2 nights accommodation, a question and answer session with Meghan, meditation, yoga, and a sound healing experience.
But fast forward to now, and the vibe has completely flipped. It's not even close to the same situation anymore. After stepping away from royal duties and relocating to the United States, their focus clearly shifted toward building a media and celebrity brand. That included high-profile moments like the interview with Oprah Winfrey, multiple documentaries, and Harry's memoir Spare, all of which pulled back the curtain on royal life in a very public way. And here's the issue. Those moves didn't land the same way everywhere. For a lot of people, it changed how they see them entirely. the goodwill they once had? It took a serious hit. Now, with that support fading, one thing still keeps them in the conversation: their royal titles. And that's exactly why this trip is getting so much scrutiny.
And prayers. The couple's popularity in Australia in 2018 was the catalyst for Harry and Meghan making demands as working members of the royal family. I don't know if you know that. In trying to step out of William and Catherine's shadow, Meghan started comparing herself to Princess Diana and tried to use this trip as leverage with the...
Critics aren't seeing this as a simple visit anymore. They're calling it what they believe it really is: a branding move, a commercial play, even labeling it a fake royal tour. And that phrase alone shows how skeptical people have become. And then there's the biggest concern of all, the fear that officials might still roll out the red carpet and that taxpayer money could somehow be involved. That's the line many Australians are drawing right now, because from their perspective, this isn't about diplomacy or duty. It looks like promotion, and they don't want to be the ones paying for it. Australians are making their stance crystal clear, and they're not sugarcoating it.
And what does Meghan Markle do? Surprise! I'm releasing a new product, and as ever, I mean, they are so predictable in this sense.
It's either bad news or Catherine is doing something, so I've got to get the spotlight back.
Yeah.
If this trip is truly private, then everything should be paid out of Harry and Meghan's own pockets. No government support, no taxpayer-funded security, no special royal treatment, nothing. That's the line being drawn right now, and people are rushing to sign petitions because of it. The logic is simple. If you step away from royal duties, you don't get to keep the perks that come with it. You can't walk away from the role, but still expect the benefits. And this isn't just public frustration anymore. It's turning political fast. In Australia, Republican voices are getting louder, questioning the relevance of the monarchy itself. They're asking straight up, why are Prince Harry and Meghan Markle even coming? And what exactly are they trying to achieve? It's not curiosity, it's skepticism. At the same time, monarchists aren't defending them either.
As of late 2025, Harry and Meghan's popularity in Australia is at an all-time low. Following a consistent downward trend over the years, polling indicates they're among the least popular members of the royal family.
Not even close. Many feel the couple turned their backs on the crown and should no longer be connected to it in any official way. From that perspective, whatever Harry and Meghan do now, that's on them, not the royal family. And here's where things get even more intense. Some critics believe this trip isn't random at all. They think it's a strategic move, a quiet attempt to slide back into royal relevance through the side door. But here's the problem with that theory. It clashes directly with what Queen Elizabeth II made very clear. There was no half-in, half-out option. You're either fully in the system or completely out. That's why this situation is creating even more tension around the monarchy as a whole, because it blurs lines that were supposed to be settled. And timing? Timing makes this even more complicated.
Prince Harry's controversial memoir is proving to be a true tell-all.
They're going to want him to deliver something that sells books and makes headlines. But I think the view from within Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace is to ride this one out, to hope that this Sussex haul kind of blows itself out once they've said their piece.
King Charles III is currently dealing with serious pressure, both health-related and from leading the monarchy during a sensitive period. Meanwhile, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, are not expected to visit Australia anytime soon. That gap? Some people think it's being noticed and possibly used. Because one interpretation gaining traction is this: the Sussexes might be trying to step into that space, to dominate headlines in major Commonwealth countries before senior working royals return to the spotlight. And if that's true, then this trip isn't just a visit anymore. It's a calculated play in a much bigger game. But here's the reality. With backlash growing and petitions gaining momentum, this whole strategy is starting to look shaky at best. What was supposed to rebuild momentum might actually do the opposite.
And I don't think Australia has any desire to see them in April.
No, it's actually interesting because a lot of Australians are monarchists. And, you know, I've been to Australia many times. I know a lot of people in Australia. And the thing that I'm hearing is that they're so fed up because Australians really don't like it when somebody thinks that they're above the regular people.
Despite all the criticism, Prince Harry is still believed to be holding on to one big hope: that this trip could somehow impress King Charles III and put him back on the royal map. But let's be honest, a lot of critics are calling that idea unrealistic. From their perspective, that door isn't just slightly closed, it's firmly shut. At the same time, Harry and Meghan Markle are insisting this is a completely private trip. No official roles, no royal backing, no institutional involvement. But here's where things start to get messy. The biggest question isn't what they're saying, it's how this actually plays out in real life. Because security doesn't just organize itself. If police, escorts, or local authorities are involved at any level, then who is paying for that? That's the question nobody seems to be answering clearly. And that's exactly why this situation is turning into a gray area.
I've seen, what I thought was interesting was the announcement included private events. Like wouldn't we just assume that they would want privacy throughout the excursion? But don't forget, or don't think for 1 second, they won't try to make it look like an official royal engagement. They will want certain photo opportunities where there's an audience clamoring for them so that they can send those pictures to People magazine. But for the most part, I do think that it will be mostly private events and commercial ventures that they're pursuing more so than charity opportunities.
Australians are worried about hidden costs, the kind that don't show up immediately but end up landing on the government later. Even if the trip is labeled private, the execution might tell a completely different story. And let's not ignore the media factor. Even if they try to keep things low-key, the attention alone could turn this into a massive global event. There's also growing talk that they might be trying to recreate the magic of 2018, when crowds filled the streets and the energy was overwhelmingly positive. But here's the catch. If large crowds show up again, this private visit instantly stops being private. It becomes a full-blown international spectacle. Exactly the kind of exposure critics believe they're chasing to rebuild their image. Meanwhile, the royal family hasn't made any public statements. But behind the scenes, insiders suggest they're watching very closely. Because whether this trip succeeds or fails, it's not just about one visit anymore. It could shape how everything unfolds next. Right now, it looks like the royal family is taking a very calculated approach, stepping back and letting Prince Harry and Meghan Markle deal with the fallout on their own. No backup, no public defense, just silence.
She is the daughter-in-law of King Charles, of our sovereign. She is married to King Charles's son, Prince Harry. And this tawdry event heaps embarrassment, yet more embarrassment, on our royal family, doesn't it?
It's a really good point, Kev. And, you know, we all know the Queen's dying wish was to not have them do this pseudo-royal sycophant.
And that silence, it feels intentional, almost like they're being left to face the consequences of their own choices without any royal safety net. Because at this point, this Australia trip isn't just a visit anymore. It's a full-on test. A test of relevance, a test of public support, and a test of whether people are still willing to accept them operating with royal-style visibility while claiming independence. And the possible outcomes? They couldn't be more different. On one side, they could manage to shift the narrative, pull positive attention back in, and slowly rebuild their image. That's the best-case scenario. But on the other side, things could go the complete opposite direction. Public rejection, negative reactions, intense media pressure, and even deeper damage to a brand that's already under strain. And here's the bigger picture people are starting to notice. This isn't just about Harry and Meghan anymore. It's reflecting something wider, a clear shift in how the public views the monarchy itself. There's less automatic respect, more questioning, and a growing demand for accountability. People aren't just accepting things at face value like before, they're pushing back. And that's what makes this moment so important. Australia used to be one of their strongest stages, but now it's turning into their biggest challenge yet. The petitions have already shaped the narrative, the tone is already set, and everything is moving fast. As it stands right now, they're not walking into a war mystic bell. They're walking straight into a storm. So now the question is simple. Is this trip a smart move or a major miscalculation waiting to happen? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This one is seriously divided. And if you're following everything closely, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.